We're going to go through a couple common objections that financial services managers have a hard time overcoming. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about those, and then Damien's going to share a couple word tracks with me that he wants me to grade.
All right, so here is an objection that several finance managers share with me that I don't think we have a structured close for, and it's I will take my chances. It's something that comes up a lot. You've addressed this in Stump the Chump and several of the other overcoming objections, but a lot of times when you overcome this objection, it's kind of a comical response. I'll take my chances. You kind of make a joke out of it and kind of go from there. So what we need, Gerry, is how would you legitimately structure a rebuttal for I will take my chances?
Legitimately?
Yeah.
All right. So if someone said to me, I'll take my chances, I would look at him and say, I get it. I mean, when you say you take your chances, I'm assuming you do see somewhat of a risk. Now, keep this in mind. I want you to do semantics. This is all part of it. So when you say you take your chances, I'm assuming that you do see somewhat of a risk. Shut up. Listen. Now, the customer may say to you, no, I don't see a risk. Or, yeah, there's a risk in everything. Or, yeah, I do see a risk. You follow it up with, why would you want to take that risk, especially in today's economy? Why don't you transfer a risk to someone else? When someone says, I'll take my chances, they're not saying they don't want it. They're saying they'll take their chances. Look, I don't want it. Okay, you do want it. It's just you don't want to pay for it. I don't need it. Well, you might not need it, but you do want it. You just don't feel a need for it because of the cost. So are these really rebuttals? That's the thing you have to ask yourself. I'll just take my chances. To me, and it depends on how that customer said that, I'll just take my chances. They could have been resistant the whole time. You got to look at the whole picture. Customer comes into your office, they're kind of tense. They have apprehensions, and they're kind of just letting you go through the motions with you, and you can sense the tension. You haven't relieved the tension. I've often talked about how customers come into the office, they're sitting back like this, and then through your ability to form a connection or get them more involved, they start to go like this. And the next thing you know, their arms are resting on your desk, and now they're listening to you in intensity. If they're like this and say, you know what, I'll just take my chances. Then they look at their watch. That's just a knee-jerk reaction to what you just presented. So I'll take my chances. And then you move into them and say, well, can I assume by saying you'll take your chances, you do see somewhat of a risk? Well, yeah, I see a risk. Well, why would you want to take that risk, especially in today's economy? I would think you'd want to transfer that risk. And then shut up. Next thing you know, the customer's going to, how much was that? No, I mean, I don't know, Damien. How's that?
No, listen, it's perfect. I think that's exactly what it was. And a lot of the word tracks that we researched for this particular objection kind of have that transfer of risk feel, exactly what you said. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, Gerry, so let's rate these word tracks. Tell me if this is a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So I will take my chances. The first one is the acknowledgement and reframe close. I think it's basically what you just did, right? Disarms resistance and shifts the mindset without pressure. I totally understand, Mr. Customer. Most people feel that way at first. What I've learned, this isn't really about taking chances. It's about deciding who you want paying for risk, you or the coverage company.
Okay, so if you understand, then why are you going through this motion with me?
Yeah.
Get rid of that. I totally understand.
Got it.
I think most people feel that way at first. And what I've learned is it really isn't about taking chances. It's about deciding who you want to pay for the risk. You are a coverage company. What I mean by that is, let me explain. You have a repair and you go to the service department. You want to take the bill. You want to send the bill off to a administrator and they'll pay for it. I mean, you could do that. It's the I totally understand part. We were trained throughout our sales career to say, I understand. Now I say, I get it. I get it. I get it. What you're saying in my head, I get it. I'm assuming that you do see somewhat of a risk because people do feel that way often. But what it really comes down to is it's not about taking the risk, but who do they want to pay for if something were to happen? Do they want to pay? No one likes to write a check. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. and Mrs. Jones? Yeah. So let someone else write the check. Transfer the risk.
Cool. All right, let's look at the second one. You are already taking chances word track. Purpose to expose the false assumption behind the objection. The word track is, you're right. You can take your chances. The only thing I'd point out is that you're already taking chances just by owning the vehicle. The question is whether or not you want the risk capped or unlimited.
What you're telling the customer, you're buying a lemon. So you can get rid of that one.
Okay, good.
You're already taking your chances by buying this car. That's like me going through an introduction and go, hey, that's a great choice. What made you choose that car?
Okay.
All
right. Next close. The cost of one event close. The purpose is to anchor the decision to one realistic event, not fear. The word track is most of my customers who say they aren't worried about everything going wrong. They're just hoping nothing expensive goes wrong. Let me ask you this. If one $3,000 repair happened, would you rather write that check all at once or have it already handled?
I like the premise behind that. And we often talk, Damien, about it's not the word track that matters. It's the principle behind it.
Yep.
But if you take a look at that word track, most of my customers who say they aren't worried about everything going wrong, they're just hoping nothing expensive goes wrong, nothing big goes wrong. So when you say you take your chances, I get it. You're not worried about little small things, but if something big were to happen, you'd certainly be concerned about that, right?
Yeah.
And with the cost of labor today at $160, $180, $200 an hour, if something were to go wrong, Consumer Report says that for every hour in labor, you can spend twice as much, 3 times as much in parts. Sometimes even a minor repair could end up costing you hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Wouldn't you want someone else to assume that risk? Or wouldn't you want someone else to take that chance? So I think the message behind that word track is nice, but I think it can be like buttered up a little bit.
Buttered up.
Buttered up.
We're going to butter that one up. All right.
Lubricate that bad boy.
This is actually the same one that I guess you use, the transfer of risk clause. Turns insurance into financial leverage. The word track is this doesn't prevent things from happening. It just transfers the responsibility of paying it when they do. People who take their chances usually end up paying more, just not by choice. Is that something fair to say or no?
I don't know. I mean, I look at it this way. Most people today lock in costs and transfer risk, and that's how they remain solvent. I mean, if you look at it that way, you say you're going to take your chances. I get it. These options aren't for everybody, but keep this in mind. You're buying a very expensive automobile. Look at the tires and wheels themselves. A tire today costs an average of $300. The $125 tires are gone. You know, you have rear view cameras in your bumpers. If you get a rear end collision, that bumper is going to cost $4,000 to $5,000 to replace. And the electronics that could be damaged by that rear collision could end up costing thousands of dollars. It's like when someone opens up to you and says, I'll take my chances, that gives you an opportunity to move the dialogue further. That's my point. That's the point I'm trying to bring up. So when someone says, I'll take my chances, I get it. You know, these options aren't for everybody. But can I assume that what you're saying when you say you take a chance, you do see someone of a risk? Well, yeah. Well, wouldn't you want someone else to assume that risk? I mean, come on, look at the vehicle. You're paying $85,000 for this vehicle. It's very expensive to repair. Even minor repairs today. And these vehicles, it's not so much that you repair these vehicles anymore. It's all replacement parts. I mean, the heated seat, if a heated seat goes out, you could sacrifice it for 3 months in the winter and get by with it, but wouldn't you want to have that repaired? And that's going to cost anywhere from $1,800 to $2,000.
Right.
So those are the things, again, you got to watch your audience that's sitting in front of you. This is coaching 101. If the customer's like this the whole time, it's going to be hard to get through that person. And quite frankly, like Chris Gonzalez said, if you follow a process, you do introductions, you form a connection with the customer, you learn something about the customer, you ease them into the F&I office rather than drag them into the F&I office, you're going to get less people like this.
That's right.
And you get more people that are going to listen to you. So when you say, help me overcome objections, if you're not following the entire process, some objections you're not going to be able to overcome because you didn't start off in the right foundation or foot.
Yeah, great point. Okay, there's another word track here. Rate it, thumbs up or thumbs down. The manufacturer reality word track validates logic using OEM behavior. The word track is, if taking chances was the better financial decision, manufacturers wouldn't limit their warranty. They stop coverage exactly when the risk becomes most expensive. This just lets you extend the protection past that point.
This is where you throw an illustration in there, a frequency of repair, where we take frequency of repair, you're going to keep the car for 5 years. And why does the manufacturer give you a 3-year 36? Because the frequency of repairs increases after the 3-year or 36. You're going to be driving the car. This is why the introduction is so important. You're going to be driving the car 18,000 miles. You're done in 2 years. What are you going to rely on then? When the manufacturers close it down because they don't want to take that risk after 3 years or 36,000 miles. The risk is on you now. Wouldn't you want someone else to assume that risk just like you had it for the first 2 years? That's a logical close.
Yeah, it is a logical close.
And then the person looks at you and goes, no, I'll just take my chances. So you do see what a risk. That's what I'm talking about, man.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, last one. Based on how long you plan to keep the vehicle, doesn't it make more sense to budget a small amount monthly or risk unexpected expense you can't control?
So we often talked about non-essential and essential spending. Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I get it. Do you know that every vehicle, whether you lease it or buy it, you're going to have non-essential spending and essential spending? What? What do you mean? Well, essential spending is the payment, gas, maintenance, insurance. You got to do that. Non-essential is anything that happens to that vehicle. And it can get pretty expensive, especially in today's economy. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah. Doesn't make sense when we're on these programs knowing that. Soft close.
All right.
What else you want to know? I'm a closing machine, baby. A closing machine.
You are a closing machine. Thank you for going through those. I think this is good. Great course.
If you want to learn more closes like that, join the #1 F&I training company in the country. #1. And that's not a middle finger. That's #1. Prodprep.com. Come join and have some fun. Until next time, go get them.